Welcome everybody to UROC 365 webinar series to grow your business. Today's event and webinar is going to be about the 10 mistakes first-time home buyers make. And Pat Jabdan is going to be covering this topic, and he's also going to be talking about how to avoid them and also the incentives available for first-time home buyers. Also important to note that if you get disconnected from this webinar because of an unstable internet connection, please reconnect back on the same link that I gave you. So reconnect back and you should be able to get connected. Also, just to give you an advisory, Zoom has made updates to their webinar. So I would recommend that, when you get a chance also to upgrade your Zoom software on your computer.
Mm-hmm.
I'd like to thank Mr. Pat Jabdan, broker of record of United Realty of Canada, and Dr. Alex Ahanchin, General Manager of United Realty of Canada, for your gracious support and sponsorship of this webinar series. And we have been consistently and persistently doing this webinar series since the third week of March, and we have non-stop, and this is going to go on. So really, I appreciate your support and sponsorship of this webinar series.
Thank you.
I also like to make a few notes. Go to uroc365.com. If you have any questions related to real estate or pre-construction or just realtors in general, click on those black, the red or the blue button and register yourself, and somebody will respond back to you with your questions if you have any. Also, there are some really good webinars on our website. The most important one and popular one is learn how to build your client database to generate hot leads. And also there's another new webinar that is going to be coming up soon, how to generate leads using newsletters and videos. I also like to thank Mr. Douglas Gray, author of the book, What the Financial Institutions Are Not Telling You. This book will actually help you to save money for the down payment or help you to get out of debt. So it's a very basic book about teaching people about how to save money and create wealth. So if you want to get a copy of this book, please register at uroc365.com and we'll make sure that we get you a copy of this book. A couple of other important points to note. If there are realtors, we have at United Realty of Canada the guaranteed income program for realtors. So please talk to Alex and Pat more about that program, and we will explain how that program works. It's the guaranteed income program for realtors. Also, we have another program that is coming up soon. It's called the Rent to Own program in GTA and the outer GTAs. So please register for this program. It's going to be coming up soon and we'll give you more information. Also, we have Mr. Mike Sobey. He's joining us at United Realty of Canada. And we are going to have a lot of deals coming up for commercial and industrial properties. And also last week, we had Mr. David Black, who was talking to us about investing in commercial industrial properties. So now I'd like to hand over the microphone to Mr. Pat Jabdan. So Pat can start the webinar for the 10 mistakes that the first-time home buyers make.
Thank you, Jerry, and welcome everybody. Today, because we are recording these webinars, I'm going to mention a few points because it's going to be on our YouTube, social media. So people who missed this previous webinars, they can go to United Realty TV or Fin Plus 365 YouTube, United Realty TV YouTube, or Pat Jabdan YouTube, or uroc365.com. So they can watch those webinars of those. And also for people who are new or also they're going to listen to this in future, we create hot leads, we coach, and also we have a team support at United Realty of Canada. And also before I start, purpose of these webinars are for educational purposes only, and please seek independent professional advice if you are involved in a specific agreement. Please talk to independent professionals. So that's aside. Now let's start about 10 common mistakes first-time home buyer make. Although this is the title is 10 common mistakes for first-time home buyers, but in reality is for everybody, for home buyers in general, and also for realtors. And you know, many people still they make these mistakes. When I started my career in real estate industry, I made these mistakes a few times. So make sure that don't make these mistakes, and you can easily forget about them. So this is kind of refresh your memory, and to make sure that you don't make these mistakes. So we're going to start. So 10 common mistakes that first-time home buyers make and how to avoid them. So we're going to go to first mistake number one. Mistake number one, no down payment. It seems silly, it seems so obvious, but believe me, I had an experience when I started my career that people start looking for property, but they don't have down payment, or they don't have enough down payment. And so make sure that you have a down payment, because sometimes they are misinformed. They don't know how much down payment they need. So without down payment, start looking. So they're going to waste their time. They're going to waste realtors' time as well. Everybody's going to get frustrated. So as basic as it looks, but make sure that down payment is important. Now we go to mistake number two. If you go to mistake number two, no pre-approval. Again, so simple, so obvious. Believe me, many people make this mistake. So buyer have done pre-approval and start looking for property. So my suggestion is talk to your mortgage broker or your bank to make sure that you have pre-approval. And also for realtors, make sure you have to pre-qualify your buyer, because you spend months and months looking for your buyer, but you find out later that they don't have, they have no pre-approval. So everybody's time is going to get wasted. Another point in this pre-approval, having pre-approval does not mean approval. Unfortunately, that's the reality. Some people have pre-approval, but at the last moment, last day, bank says because of this, because of that, you have to bring that paper, you have to do this or whatever. So make sure that you keep in touch with your mortgage broker or your banker all the time to have this, don't make this mistake. Now we go on mistake number three. No source of down payment showing. Again, you know, when you're buying a property, you have to, a bank requires transparency, requires you have to show this money, where is this money is coming from. So make sure that you have the showing the source of down payment, and showing it that this down payment where it's coming from. So you have to track of your money. So if you don't have it, this is one of those things that might at the end of the, you know, a day, you have 1 day to closing date, and they might guess, oh, your source of down payment is not clear. So make sure that source of down payment is clear. We go to mistake number four. No proof of down payment. You know, this is again simple but important. You need to have your down payment 3 months in your accounts, or 2 accounts, or 3 accounts, or 1 account. It cannot, you know, the night before closing, you cannot say, okay, I bring my money right now. No, you have to show that your down payment in your account for 3 months. So make sure that don't make this mistake. It's going to create problem for you. We go to mistake number 5. Ignorance about credit. Many people, they don't know their credit score, or they don't know if they have a credit score. They don't know, they don't know how to build the credit. They don't know if the credit is bad. They don't know how to repair it. Again, months in advance, months. I would say a year, between 6 months, a year. I suggest a year. Build your credit and make sure that you have a good credit. And also consult with your mortgage broker, consult with your banker, and ask them, how can I improve my credit score? What do I have to do? So this is good. You have to do it a year before. So don't make this mistake and don't get frustrated at the end. We go to mistake number 6. You know, I deal with many first-time buyers in my career, almost 20 years. Sometimes they get emotional and they are not realistic. What do I mean by that? You know, sometimes they fall in love with the first home or property they see because they have not seen any other properties. Though they fell in love, which is wrong. You have to fall in love with the property for the right reason. So don't fall in love right away. Again, don't drag your time for 5-6 months. It happened to me. It happened to many realtors. It happened to many realtors. It happens to me many, many, many times. So because you say, oh yeah, I'm buying for this buyer, you are patient, you're showing the houses, you're showing the properties, but you have to educate your buyers that you stick with the criteria. Let's say they choose 3 criteria, 5 criteria: location, price, type of property, or whatever important for them. As a buyer, you have to stick with your, first of all, make your criteria clear, and second of all, stick to your criteria. So be realistic and have criteria, stick to it. This is mistake number 6. Many buyers, they don't do that. We go to mistake number 7. You know, I've seen many first-time home buyers, they get involved in multiple offer scenarios. And fortunately or unfortunately, we don't have this situation that much right now in this COVID-19 situation. But this is just general rule that you have to be careful, because if you get in multiple offer scenarios, you have to buy the property firm. It means you don't put any conditions, no inspection, no financing, no lawyer's approval, and it's very dangerous for the first-time buyers. Make sure that you understand. I suggest first-time buyer, do not get in multiple offer scenarios. But if you really, really want to get in, make sure that you talk to your experienced specialist realtors who can handle negotiation, who know about first-time buyers, and he or she has done first-time buyers many, many times, that you are in good hands. So make sure that pay attention to this mistake. So we go to mistake number 8. Many people, buyers, they forget about the closing cost. It's as simple as that. See, closing cost, and sometimes, you know, the realtors may not mention it, or mortgage broker might forget it. So do not forget your closing cost. In a nutshell, closing cost is about 3 to 4% of your purchase price. So make sure you have that money for your closing costs. Closing costs could be legal costs, lawyer costs, land transfer tax, adjustment, moving costs, etc., etc. So make sure you have extra money for your closing costs. So, and make sure that you have a little bit, I suggest to buyers that they have a little bit of money aside for future repairs. Because sometimes after 2 months, you see something wrong, you need to repair it, and you don't have the money. So that's, make sure don't make this mistake and have closing costs plus a little bit money for future. So we go to mistake number 9. I see some buyers, they go alone And so for the listing agent, or they get involved in a deal alone, which I don't recommend at all. So if you have a realtor, experienced realtor with yourself, with you, then first of all, when you buy a property, I'm talking to buyers, when you buy a property, the buyer agent, plus you have extra eyes, you have experienced specialist guys under your side. And another thing that listing realtors actually they are in with. They're representing the sellers, number one. Now, sometimes they might get involved in multiple representation situation. They say, okay, I have a listing, I'm representing my and you as well. It could be done, or they might bring another agent from the same brokerage or whatever they want to do it. But remember, is my experience is very hard to remain unbiased. It's very hard to remain fair for both sides. So for some discount on their property, but because the first-time buyers, they don't know about the prices, they don't know if they are selling or not. So you have to have somebody who has knowledge in the area, in the neighborhood, in the whole market. So make sure you have somebody with you. Do not make that mistake. We go to mistake number 10. Mistake number 10, yeah, mistake number 10, missing first-time homebuyer incentives. Some people, they don't know about it, so you have to make sure that edge of this incentive for yourself. So for example, Canada Mortgage and Housing Corporation, it's called a CMHC. They have a 5. Check this exactly with your lawyer, with CMHC, that if you are qualified for this 5 to 10%, so and how you have to repay this 5 to 10% later. But you can use this incentive. Another one, RRSP. If you have RRSP in your account, so you can use your RRSP. Government increased a limit of RRSP for first-time home buyers to $35,000 per person. So for the couple, $70,000 if you have an RRSP. So consult your investment planner or bank, so you can use also RRSP. Another one, also you can get incentive in land transfer tax. And again, talk to your lawyer about this, how it works, and you can take advantage. So make sure that you don't forget these 10 points. Now, I think I have also a few minutes that I can, if Jerry, still we have time, right?
Yes, yes, we have.
Still we have time.
Yes.
So I talk about the incentive. Also, you know, if you're buying a new or not new, just a resale, again, make sure that you go with the realtor, you check the whole agreement about you buy adequate homeowners insurance. Also, make sure that in the agreement, the chattels, appliances, electrical light fixture, window covering, furniture, etc., is clearly mentioned in the agreement. That's why you have to have somebody with you, and make sure that the agreement also, if you're buying a property with tenant, make sure that tenant in the basement, make sure the basement is legal. Make sure that is tenant is leaving or staying, are you assuming it or not assuming it? All these details, I cannot talk about everything in detail, but if you call any of United Realty of Canada agents who have extensive experience in first-time home buyers, they can go through this with you with patience and more time. And something I like to mention also about also, if you buy from the new construction or new build, like a condominium or new homes, also you have to go to the different procedure. Above these 10 tips that I mentioned, you have to go through that again. And I don't have that much time left, but in few minutes for the condominium, I'm going to mention a few points because we are recording this. When you're buying new condominium, it's very important to pay attention to location, location, location. Builder reputation is very important. The quality, craftsmanship is important. Design, floor plans, what floor you're buying, what view you're buying. Again, make sure that you cap the levies and development charges is important. So make sure that how much maintenance will be. Something what my colleagues experienced, that they bought a condominium pre-construction, and this guy had two commercial vehicle, commercial vehicles, and he finds out later he can only park one commercial vehicle in the parking in the garage. So he didn't know about it. So there are so many small things that you have to look for it. That's why you have to make sure that in 10 days cooling period for pre-construction new homes, and make sure that you read it, or make sure that you give it to your lawyer, read it, that you don't make these mistakes new homes. Now for the I have a few points. Jerry, we have a few minutes left.
Yes, definitely. Go ahead, Pat. We have
few minutes left.
Yes.
For the new homes, which myself at least 4 or 5 times myself. So when you buy a new home, right? Many people fall in the upgrades by the builder, which I did. Make sure that you don't go overboard for upgrades unless you really, really need or love that builder should build for you upgrades or a specific use. Otherwise, usually I recommend don't go with the too much upgrade with the builder, which is I mistake a couple of times. So make sure that you don't make that mistake. Make sure when you do PDI, delivery inspection for the new homes, and make sure that you bring a home inspector with you. It costs you $300, but to me it's worth it. Because when you buy a car, 30,000 car, or you lease it, it comes with the manual. So when you're buying 500,000 home property or $1 million property, right? You need that manual. You need to know how to take care of your property. It's much, much more important than your car. So make sure you take home inspector in the PI. Don't try to change the floor plan too much when you're buying from the builder. Don't try to change the floor plan too much anymore. So make sure that you're buying a home, sidewalk, because many street has only one sidewalk. Make sure that if you don't like sidewalk on your side, make sure to see the site plan, not only your home floor plan, to see the site plan, and make sure that site plan you're happy with the site plan showing everything. Because we don't have time, but again, if you contact any of our realtors, United Realty of Realtors, we are more than happy to go through these details with you, help you, make sure that you buy the property you love, and make sure that you buy it correctly. Thank you very much. So Jerry, if you have any comments, or Alex comments, you can go ahead.
Yeah, my only comment I just want to add to everybody. I remember that when I purchased my first time home in Canada, we purchased it from a builder. And when we purchased it from the builder, our goal was to also make the basement into a rental producing property. So what
Mm-hmm.
we did is that at that time, we told the builder that, we don't want the builder to finish the upgrading the basement, because the builder was going to charge us almost like 70,000 or 80,000 in doing the renovation for the basement. So, but
Mm-hmm.
what we told the builder is that put in the extra in the basement, $15,000 or $20,000 worth of rough-ins for the bathroom, the kitchen, just
Mm-hmm.
the rough-ins, and then we will finish off the rest. And that's what we did, right? So this is
Mm-hmm.
just another additional information, right? Because you can do the finishing yourself much more cheaper compared to
Mm-hmm.
the builder.
Yeah, sometimes, sometimes you need something, really, really, you need something and you love to have that, and you need it right away. And if the price is not that expensive, you can go ahead with the upgrade or changes, but don't go overboard. Something that I forgot to mention about hidden costs when you're buying new home. So make sure that go through the hidden cost, and your realtors also can show you the hidden cost in the agreement, that you don't get surprised at the end. And for the new homes, new condominiums, you have 10 days cooling period. So these 10 days, you can go through this agreement, condominium documents or agreement, and you can show it to lawyer and go through it. And remember, sometimes people make mistakes. When they go buy a new home, especially first-time buyers. They go to the model home, and they think they're buying that model home. You're not buying some model homes that I have seen. There are 300,000, 500,000, $1 million thousand upgrade in those model homes. I've seen it. So it means you're not buying that model home. You're basically you're buying it bare naked. So don't fall in fall in love in the model home. Be realistic and make sure that you don't make that mistake. So
Thank
I
you,
think we
Pat.
have. You're
Thank you,
welcome.
Pat, for that update. I have a question for Alex. Alex,
Sure.
I wanted to know from you is that, for a first-time home buyer, can do you know how much money is required for a first-time home buyer for a down payment, like the minimum?
First of all, hello everybody, and welcome everybody to this webinar. That's a very good question. Actually, I can be able to say that in briefly that we can be able to divide the new home buyer as two categories. One category under 3 years reside in Canada, and the other category after 3 years they decided to buy. The first category under 3 years, actually majority of the bank requests for 35% of down payment. And as Pat said, this 35%, at least half of this money should be for two, a little bit more flexible, like Bank of Montreal months is also is enough. Also regarding Bank of Montreal said that we can be, but I'm sure that with this crisis of COVID-19, you should consider your first home buyer. The second thing, as I want to say that for those people that want to buy new home, assignment, they should be Usually the HST matter is very important. You should talk to your want to become as primary resident, they don't need to pay this amount of around 26, 27,000. Otherwise, if they want to buy as invest, give it back this HST to the government and apply for example, rental property, because the new and that buy the house, buy a property, and in the closing they said, oh, no, I want to give it as a rent, or pay the HST around $26,000, $27,000 year, and again apply through the rental way. That's another 4. Again, this amount the government will pay back again. This the other thing that's very important is majority of they don't know about the closing costs, as Pat said. Very, very important. I said that up to 5% should consider to them. They have in their pocket down payment. They have this amount of money outside of this amount in their pocket. Is 5%. It is for that the government give incentive around $4,000 for first home buyer, and the rest they should pay. In the York region area, it is one tax, just municipality. In the Toronto of the steels, double tax. That means that provincial and municipality. That's 2 tax. For example, if you consider that $1 million house, something like 20,000 for York region. South of steel, that's become Toronto region. Another thing that I want to emphasize, put broker and the bank for put in the condition. That's very, very important. In those that have offer date, believe me, if you don't put condition, maybe you have big problem with the bank, especially in these days. I have right now 2 buyers, both of them new as a first home buyer, but I cannot do anything for them. Just they should. The other thing, sensitive about more than $1 million, under $1 million, a little bit good. The bank is so very sensitive. Therefore, the possibility of getting the mortgage, I'm not saying that's difficult. The other thing that's very, very difficult, unfortunately, for my people, my back home, and some countries that under the sanction, that's Iran is one of them. Important, you should know about the, this money come from where? They're asking. And finally, maybe also CRA government send the letter for you. That's very, the source of this, like selling or, anything, you should know the source of this money. Also the bank asks.
Alex, I just wanted to let you know that we have about a minute to wrap up.
Yeah, actually I finished. Thank you so much for sitting with me and listening to what I'm saying. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pat, you can wrap up, please.
Maybe and hopefully we see you soon. We couldn't, because we just say it so quickly, but don't hesitate to call us if we are here to help you. So thank you very much, everybody, and see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, everybody. And if you have any questions, definitely go to the website, urock365.com, urock365.com, and register your questions. And we will definitely keep in touch and see you next time at our next webinar. Thank you, everybody, and have a good evening. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Thank you.